My name is Ken Corwin. I teach the Michigan Mechanical Exam Prep course, and PSI has updated the Michigan Mechanical Contractors Candidate Information Bulletin. The new date down on the bottom right-hand side, it was updated 11/16 of 2023, and this is on their site now. I wanted to cover this and go over the changes and how you use this for the PSI examination process. We jump down here. You're going to complete the application, your mechanical exam application, return it to the correct fees to the state of Michigan, Department of Licensing. Only the state of Michigan may determine your eligibility for a license. PSI does not do that, the state of Michigan does. Once the department has approved you for the examination, you will receive a notification letter with instructions on how to pay and schedule for the examination. This notification will also be submitted to PSI. Candidates that have their application for examination denied are notified by the department of the elements they need to complete in order to be approved for the license. So once you submit that to the state of Michigan, if they need any more information, they're going to send you something, email, telling you what they need. Most of the time it is your work experience. You will send that back to the state of Michigan. The $300 fee you pay at the initial application covers this. You do not have to submit more money. And once you are approved, the state of Michigan will notify you, and they will notify PSI at the same time. Examination payment scheduling procedures. Upon approval of licensure eligibility, PSI will notify the authorized candidate to pay for and schedule the required licensure examination with PSI. PSI will send you something in the mail. It will be a card for each test individually, and you should also receive this entire brochure we're going to look at today. Candidates must pass examination with 1 year of the eligibility date. If you do not pass, you must reapply with the department. This section right here causes some confusion with some PSI test sites. What this is stating, after 1 year, you have to reapply if you don't pass your test. Anytime within that 1 year, if you fail a test, you do not reapply to the state of Michigan, only after the year has expired. This section right here, if you fail the examination, you may retest an unlimited amount of times during the 1 year period. Mechanical contractors, we do not have to keep reapplying. We can take the test as many times as we need to in that year to pass. So just remember that when you get to the test site, that reapplying is only after 1 year. If you fail an exam, you can retake it. Here are your fees for the exams. Everything is $50 except for category 2, which is $100. So any retake fee is also the same. If you fail it, you have to pay the same fee again. Examination fees are not refundable or transferable. The examination fee is valid for 1 year from the date of payment. So again, you have 1 year to take your test and pay for that. For the fastest, most convenient examination scheduling process, PSI recommends that you register for your examination using the internet. You register online by accessing PSI's registration site below. So we click on this site. It'll take you to the mechanical trades. We're going to reveal the test dates. We look at HVAC equipment. And this right here is where you can log in with your account and you can register. To see the latest bulletin, what we're looking at today, you click on this spot right here, and it has the latest bulletin, and this is the one we are looking at today. So when they update the bulletin, you'll find it at this link. So that's how easy it is to register with PSI. Go back to that link. And you can go in here, anywhere on here, build test dates, pick whatever test you want. Tells you the fee, log in to take the test. It's that simple online. That's the best way to do it. So you got to create an account. Do that right away once you get set up with PSI. So you're now ready to pay and schedule for the exam. Enter your zip code, list the testing sites. Just showed you how to do that. And this phone number right here, the 855-579-4635, is the Michigan Direct line. This is the one you want to use for Michigan. But I would strongly encourage you to do everything online. Rescheduling or canceling an examination appointment. You may cancel and reschedule an examination without forfeiting your fee if we do it 2 days ahead of your time frame. So if you know 2 days out, you're not going to be able to make a test, go back online and cancel the exam. If you call this phone number and you cancel, you have to talk to someone directly. You cannot leave a voicemail. A missed appointment or late cancellation, same thing. If you miss it, you're just out your money and you have to reschedule. Exam accommodations, ADA. This was before the same thing. If you have a disability that qualifies under the ADA of 1990, you can request accommodations by clicking here. Test accommodation, your email address, subject, and the description, name, phone number, everything in here. Just fill all this out and then submit it. If you have any documentation you want to add, you can add it right there. So if you have an ADA request, you can submit it right there. This is new, alternative test delivery arrangements. The following options are available to all candidates seeking assistance with additional fee. Additional time while taking the exam. Candidates may request to take the examination with extra time. The candidate will be given time and a half, and there will be an additional fee of $50 for the examination, so you can add to your examination. This is new. Request for reader along with additional time. Candidates may also request to have the examination read to them in English with extra time and a half for additional fee per the $50 examination. PSI will provide the reader. So either one of these, if you have some type of reason you want more time to take the test, or if you are not fluent in English or reading English, they will provide you a reader. Candidates applying for the exam accommodation must fill out the exam accommodation form. It's a form we already looked at. So again, just fill this out, submit it to PSI, and they will approve you to have more time to take your test. So this is new. So if you want more time, take advantage of that. For an extra $50, it'll be worth the money. Any costs associated with the alternative test delivery arrangement must be paid by the candidate. So you're paying all those fees. Examination site closing for emergency. If anything closes, they're going to contact you, and they're going to contact you by phone and email. So make sure you check your phone and email the day you're going for your exam to make sure nothing got canceled. Examination site locations. PSI test 6 days a week, 7 different locations. The testing centers close at 9 o'clock at night. So your latest exam, if you're taking a 3-hour test, will begin at 6 p.m. You have Dearborn, Holt Lansing, Southfield Crossroads, Southfield Lassa Road, Grand Rapids, Gaylord, and Marquette. So those are your test locations. Additionally, PSI examination sites in many other regions across the United States, and you can take your exam at one of those locations. So if you happen to be someone out of state trying to get a Michigan license, you do not need to come to Michigan to one of our PSI testing centers. Find one in your area and take the test down there. Reporting to the exam site. On the day of examination, you should arrive 30 minutes before your appointed time. The extra time is giving you time to sign in, do your ID, and familiarize yourself with the exam process. If you arrive late, you will not be admitted, so make sure you show up on time. This time right here is going to allow you to work with the computer and use the time you need to get familiar with that. Required ID, you must provide one form of an ID for your exam. Must have your legal first last name as it appears on one of the government IDs below, and it has to match. So a state-issued ID, driver's license, ID card, passport, military card, alien registration card, or a Canadian government ID. The ID contained candidate's photo. It has to be valid at the time, so do not bring an expired ID. If the candidate fails to provide proper identification or they do not match, you will not be allowed into the examination site. The security procedures at PSI are very tight. Once you get to the test site, the following security procedures apply. You will have access to an online calculator. This here is also new. You may bring a basic 4-function non-programmable calculator. Silent battery operated, does not have paper tape printing capabilities, does not have a keyboard. If you want to take your own calculator because you don't want to mess around with the one on the computer, you are welcome to do so, but just make sure it meets that description. You are going to be given a piece of scratch paper and a pencil, and you're going to be returning that at the end of your examination. That piece of paper is what you'll use to do formulas for Manual D or any other notes you want to take, but then you turn it in at the end. You may only take approved items into the exam room. All personal belongings of candidates, with the exception of close-fitting jackets or sweatshirts, should be placed in the secure storage provided at the site. And here it tells you what you are limited to. You cannot bring electronic devices of any type, bulky or loose clothing, hats or headgear, other personal items. Pretty much what you want to take is your code books, your ID, and your admission cards, and they will keep them. Everything else is going to get locked up, and your car keys. Keep those with you as well. Other than that, leave it outside. Persons accompanying examination candidate may not wait at the center, inside the building, or on the property. So if you are getting a ride there, they need to drop you off and leave. You cannot smoke, eat, or drink on the property. During the check-in process, all candidates will be asked if you possess any prohibited items, and you may be asked to empty your pockets and turn them out so they can check. Again, they are very strict. They may also ask candidates to lift up the ends of their sleeves, bottoms of pant legs to look for recording devices. They will carefully inspect your eyeglasses. Prohibited items that are found are going to be locked, or you can take them back to your vehicle. Any candidate possessing prohibited items in the examination room itself will be deemed to have their test results invalidated, and PSI will notify the examination sponsor of the occurrence. Any candidate seen giving or receiving assistance on an examination or found with unauthorized materials who violate security regulations will be asked to surrender all examination materials and to leave the center, and they will be reported to the state of Michigan as well. Copying or communicating examination content is a violation of your contract with PSI, and either may result in the disqualification or examination results and may lead to legal action. Once you have been seated and the exam begins, you may leave the examination room to use the restroom only after you get permission from the proctor, and your candidate will not receive extra time to complete the examination. Taking the exam by the computer. The examination will be administered via computer. You will be using a mouse and a computer keyboard. Before you start your examination, introductory tutorials provided on the computer screen. The time you spend on this tutorial, up to 15 minutes, does not count as part of your examination time. Sample questions are included following the tutorial so that you may practice answering questions and reviewing your answers. Test question screen. We will cover that after we go through this pamphlet. Examination review. PSI, collaboration of ECC, consistently review their examination. You'll have an opportunity to put comments in your exam at the end, and they'll review those at that time. Score reporting. Your result will be given to you immediately following completion of the exam. On screen, your result will appear immediately on the computer screen. This will happen automatically at the end of the time allowed for the examination. If you are using review features, you will be able to obtain your result immediately when you indicate that you have finished and would like to see results. If you pass, you will immediately receive a successful notification. If you do not pass, you will immediately receive an unsuccessful notification on the screen, along with a diagnostic report indicating your strengths and weaknesses. You may request a duplicate score report after your examination. If you do not pass, you can get online at PSI and set up an examination date as soon as you want. There is no minimum waiting time before you can retest. So if it's fresh in your brain and in your memory, that would be the time to take it. Examination reference material and content outlines. These are the tests you're going to take. All of them are 55 questions, 1 hour timed, except for test number 2, which is 3 hours, 150 questions. These are all open books. You can take books in with you. Service tests are closed books. You cannot take any book in for these tests. This continues on this page as well. Every test you take is going to have 5 to 10 law-based questions. Here in the red font, they include questions based on the law covering knowledge of the Skilled Trades Act, Public Act 407 of 2016, and the Construction Code Act, Public Act 230 1972, and also out of Chapter 1 of the Michigan Mechanical Code. So to understand what each category is when you apply, it breaks it down here and gives a definition. Your passing score now is 75%, and it's under each heading. So we have hydronic heating, cooling process piping, Category 1. HVAC equipment includes ductwork and gas piping, Category 2. Category 3, ductwork, covers all the way down through here. Category 4, refrigeration. Category 5, limited heating service. Category 6, unlimited heating service. Category 7, limited refrigeration and air conditioning. Category 8, unlimited refrigeration and air conditioning. Category 9, fire suppression. Category 10 starts all of these subcategories: solar heating and cooling, solid fuel equipment, vented gas appliances, LP distribution piping, fuel gas piping and venting, and those are your categories. So all your categories are listed here, and again, everything is 75% pass rate. So that is your PSI brochure. So one of the things to look at as we're getting ready to go into the 2021 code, if you click on this link right here, any one of these links are all the same. You click on this link and it takes us to the current reference materials that the state is using, and that's what PSI is allowing into the test. So as of today, March 27th, 2024, we are still using the 2015 codes all the way down through here, 2015 codes. So those are the ones that we're going to use. So as you get closer to your test, if you want to click on one of these links, and again, it doesn't matter what category, they're all the same. We go back to hydronic heating, cooling, process piping, it is the same category. So that is your PSI bulletin and the references. So let's take a look at the exam tutorial. Once you get to PSI and you sit down and you have that computer in front of you, this is how the computer is going to work. It offers the candidate basic information about the test. It shows the candidate how to navigate through the test with the function bar. Demonstrates how the candidate can review the test, allows the candidate to take a sample test. The time the candidate spends on the tutorial will not count against your time, but again, get there early. Be there 30 minutes early for your test. You can repeat the tutorial as many times as you want until you're ready to start the test. So this is the way the examination screen is going to look when you see it. Across the top, you have a calendar, you have a mark, you have the comments, go to, help, and end. So this right here is showing we're on question number 3 of 40. We have answered 2, we have unanswered 1, we have none marked, view all. Our time left is 359 minutes. Question 3, what do the stars in the United States of America flag represent? You are going to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. Once you pick that, you are going to go next. Function bar, the function bar at the top is what we looked at. Across the top here, that's our function bar. On-screen calculator button. Calculator right here, you're going to click on that. It's going to open up a calculator that you can use. Again, if you want to take your own, you can. Status bar we already talked about, showed we are on question 3 of 40, what we had answered, unanswered, marked, time left. The item, each item appears on the screen one at a time. You only have one question to worry about at a time. The item may display a graphic on the screen or may direct the candidate to a reference material such as the chart or diagram. So your answer, or your question, I'm sorry, could be a straight up question, or it could be a diagram that you have to answer something to. Choosing an answer, just click on that answer you want, and then click next, and that will record the answer and proceed to the next item. The mark button. This is a huge benefit for taking this test. I cannot emphasize that enough. The candidate may choose not to answer the question or like to review it. They can mark the item by clicking on the mark button in the function bar. The candidate can go back to the marked items by clicking on the go to bar. So if I don't know the answer 100%, the answer is states. But let's say I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm 80% sure. I'm going to click this states answer, and then I'm going to click the mark button, and I'm going to keep going to my test. And then when I get to the end of the test, I can come back and go to this go-to bar, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. Comment section again. If you have a comment after a question, you can make a comment. Just click on the comment section, put it in there, and go enter, and it'll stay in there. That takes up time on your test. Only do it if you feel it's very important, because you're spending time you could be spending answering. So you get to the end of your test, you have the go-to button. Click on that. You can go to mark question, unanswered questions, all questions, or a specific question. So your scratch piece of paper, you could write down a specific question if you want to. Once you go and do that, it's going to take you back to the questions. So my encouragement to you would be, as you go through the test, every question your first time through, answer it and mark it. If you answer it and mark it, it counts as an answered question. So if you run out of time, it still counts. If you don't run out of time, you go to the mark questions, you can go back. So once you get through with your 55 question test, you hit the go to button, come back, hit the mark and enter. It's going to show you all the questions you marked. You can go back and take a look at it. If you want to change it, you can change it. If you don't want to change it, leave it as, because once you answer it, it counts as being answered. So again, huge asset for the test. Practice that when you're doing the tutorial. The help button allows you to request help for each time. Again, you're just spending time. The proctor might come over. They're not really going to help you. I would recommend not spending time doing that unless something's not working with your computer. So once you get all done, you've gone through the mark, you have the time at the top. Let's say you're doing a 55 question, 1 hour time test, 60 minutes. If you do not finish in 60 minutes, it stops for you. You're out of time, your test is done. If you have time left when you get to the end, you have end in the exam, you're going to click that right there. And then it's going to give you a pop-up. Press enter, click key enter to finish the sample portion. This is the sample part, and to continue on. Then you actually have to type in yes. So that's the same with your exam. When you get to the end of your exam, you have to type in yes, so you accidentally do not click out your exam. So that is how you do it. Sample items. On the last sample question, talks about that to end it, just what we talked about. So this is your PSI tutorial. You can do a survey at the end if you so desire, and that pretty much tells what everything is with the PSI samples and the tutorial. I will put a link at the bottom that'll take you to this site so you can click on and see how to use it and navigate back in the other site. So you'll be able to click on these links and play with that a little bit and see what I'm talking about. I would encourage you also to take this bulletin with you to the test center. Don't take it inside, just leave it in your car. So if you get told that you have to reapply, you can take it to this section right here and show them it's just for the 1 year timeline. So that should explain everything about PSI. Good luck with your exam.